about these particular tournaments. Obviously, Lettner's done really well in the US Open. He's knocked on the door so many times. Labuta seems to be Mr. Consistent at getting into these stages of the tournaments, and you wouldn't be surprised to see this one go right down to the wire. Play very similar games, actually. The safety's gone wrong. He was trying to get him behind the brown 7 there in the 9 ball.
Yeah, Labutus has been in 3 big matchroom semi-finals over the last couple of years, yet to make a final. So of course we'll update you throughout on the scores in all the matches, but we are now going to go to the main table for Joshua Filler against Tyer Styer. It'd be a big moment in Steyer's career, you would have to say, Carl, if he could win this match. What are his chances?
He does have a chance, of course he has a chance. He needs to get off to a great start. There's no one better than Joshua Filler. When he gets in the groove, he's a fantastic front runner. And just his style of play and how fast he can reel off racks. If you start to go behind against Filler, you know, it just makes you panic a little bit. Tyer Styer will know this. He's got to get off to a good start.
Well, Styer faced another giant of the game at this stage of the UK Open last year. It was Shane Van Boening, and he very nearly beat him. He's only beaten Hill in the end. It was a disappointing year for him, you have to say, as far as the matchroom events were concerned. And a disappointing start to 2025 in that regard, because he had a poor showing, really, at the European Open. But a much brighter week for him here in Telford. And it would get a whole lot brighter if he could take the scalp of Joshua Filler here. Filler has comfortably won the lag, and he will start us off. Race to 10 for a place in the last 16 and a clash with Naoki Oi. And of course, if Filler comes through to face the Japanese star, that would be a repeat of the final from the last Matchroom Open event, which Filler won 13-1 in Sarajevo a couple of months back now.
Yeah, it was a complete domination, that final. Filler proper did a number on Naoki Oi. He's over on the cue ball a little bit there.
Bit of a Mosconi Cup feel to this, of course, Europe versus the US, and both of them have been part of that wonderful tournament on many occasions. The first time they faced each other directly in the Mosconi Cup was 4 years ago in a singles, and Styer actually won. Since then, they've faced each other in 3 Mosconi Cup doubles matches. Filler's been on the winning side in all of them, and they've also had another singles since then. Indeed, that was the match which clinched victory for Europe in the 2022 Mosconi Cup. Filler clinching the winning point there.
How do you like them safety shots? Look at the angle he got with the cue ball, missing all the balls and just coming to rest behind the pink.
That could scarcely have turned out worse, Carl.
Yeah, it was great safety from Josh, and now he's been blessed with an easy opener. As long as he gets on this 3 ball, which he does, just a case of connecting the dots.
Filler is hard enough to beat, even when you do somehow get into a lead against him. But if he's the one who makes the fast start, we've seen it so many times, haven't we? He can just freewheel away. That European Open final we were talking about was a case in point. So Filler falling back in his tactical game to force the opportunity. And it was the sort of chance he just so rarely passes up. Joshua Filler into the lead already at 1-0. It's been fairly straightforward going for him so far. All very one-sided matches, except you would say for the winner's qualification round against Mateusz Niagodzki. Pushed him to 9-5. Came through earlier today against Can Salim in the Old German clash, 10-2. It's been a good year for him already with that European Open win. Even prior to that, he'd already won one of the smaller ranking titles earlier in the year. I say smaller, but obviously an event with a huge amount of prestige and history, the Derby City Classic. Beat Alex Pagulayan in the final. So between that and his win in Sarajevo, Filler has now won 7 ranking events on the World 9-Ball Tour since the current structure began 3 years ago. And that's now a joint record alongside Fedor Gorst and Francisco Sanchez Ruiz. 27 years of age, ranked number 4 in the world. Off we go again, rack 2.
Yeah, that's come out quite awkward off the break. 9-ball is covering most of the blue 2. Does have the option of the push as well, let's not forget.
All matches have now either been completed or are in progress in this last 32 round. We're a hectic couple of hours ahead to conclude Friday's play in Telford.
Yeah, he's just trying to tie the pink 4 up. Don't know if he's done that. Obviously it's super difficult to tell from here if it still goes in the top left corner pocket. Styer doesn't have to play the shot, he can put Josh back in, that's the rule on the push out. He'll have a nose at what's on offer and he'll make his decision.
Had such a miserable European Open, didn't he? Lost his second match to Abdullah Alenzi, 9 racks to 2. A real eyebrow raiser of a result. He did win 1 match on the loser's side, but then lost to Kostas Koukiadakis, so didn't even make it to loser's qualification.
Trying to kick this in off the 9, I think. Wow, that was close. Here's another look. The 2-ball had to hit the 9 a little thicker. Just grazed it, but that just shows you, I know he didn't make the shot, Michael, but that gives you an idea of the talent Filler has got. He's never far away.
Yeah, and the mindset as well. That to be his shot choice.
He wants this to stop because I think he was going to play the hook. As if the 4 doesn't go.
First match here against Juan Carlos Exposito. That was another unexpected reversal, and you might have thought, well, here we go again. Sarajevo to be repeated. Had to win 4 matches then on the loser's side, and almost went out in the round before loser's qualification again. He was 1 rack away from defeat against Do Tae Kien, but got through, then beat Francesco Candela, and that put him into the last 64, where he saw off Anthony Brabin earlier today.
Okay, there you go, it went, and he played a wonderful positional shot. He had to avoid that 8 ball and avoid the right side pocket. A really good shot there from Tyler.
Spoke about the importance of not letting Filler get his feet under the table. He can disappear out of sight so quickly. Having done the hard part with that previous shot, Styer simply has to finish the job here.
Surely he's not hooked himself. I think he's just okay.
Number 27 in the world rankings, Tyer Styer, turned 30 in January of this year. Well, one fairly glorious shot early on. Set him up, and he's taken care of business efficiently since then. So Tyer Styer levels with Joshua Filler at 1-all. We've already got one Scot into the last 16 tomorrow. We may well have another one. Jason Shaw 4-0 up now against Lu Hai Chan. Pius Labutus has edged in front of Max Lechner at 4-3. Mickey Krause has taken the opening rack against Mark Bijsterbosch. Pong Nam Pham off to a good start, leading Torsten Homan 3-0. If Pong Nam Pham wins that, we'll have an all-Vietnamese last 16 clash against Duong Quoc Hoang. Victor Zielinski also off to a good start, leading Imran Majid 3-0. Got to say a word about Imran Majid, Carl. He's 52 years of age, but he keeps turning up to these events, giving everything to it, and can still get some results and some good runs.
Yeah, he's a battler. He's a grinder. Been around, well, a long time. He was playing 9-ball way before I even had a go with the cue. That just shows you how long he's been in the game, and still very much capable of getting them results and going deep, but he just never seems to turn it into wins. I suppose that's how hard it is to win.
He was well in front earlier on against Lo Ho Sum and seemed to be stuck on the hill for such a long time, but eventually came through. It was visibly taking its toll on him. You could see him sweating and stressing. Came out with some really good shots actually towards the end and got over the line. So for the first time in this match, we're going to see the break of Tyer Styer, and Carl is going to give us some insights into his breaking technique.
He's actually one of the best breakers we have, actually. There's obviously a group of people who we would put in that regard. And thankfully he doesn't let us down. He draws the cue ball across, back into that stack. Puts the one in the side. Watch the cue ball off the rail. This is the idea. Getting it coming back, and sometimes it does arc below the 9. He actually hit it perfect. No love on the blue too, so it's going to have to be a safety. Probably try and get this cue ball. What's he looking at here? Where's he going? Could just put the 2 on the top rail. Try and float him behind the 9, but he's going low. I don't know if he's going to try and come down below the 8. No, he's played the first shot. He's played it well.
Just took the field apart in Sarajevo, didn't he? Joshua Filler came through his 3 matches in the double elimination phase for a total loss of only 2 racks. And then his first 3 opponents in the single elimination phase didn't even win enough racks between them to win a match. 10-2 against Dimitris Lukatos, 10-3 against João Grillo, and even when the level of opposition stepped up against Jason Shaw, still came through 10-4. Got a bit closer then in the quarters against Wojciech Szewczyk and the semis against Pius Labutis, but even they both only managed to get to 6 against him. And then of course there was that final against Naoki Oi, which he won 13-1. So across the week, he won pretty much 80% of the racks he played. He's asking a question of Tyer Styer here in rack 3.
Yeah, good kick shot that. Hit it full. Really good pace. Stops Villa from attacking the table. It's going to have to be a safety. May be able to get the cue ball in behind the 8. So have to hit the blue really thin though. He's going to achieve that. So he's played. It's a bit too thin. And he's had a fortunate roll. He doesn't need rolls. That's the last thing that kid needs.
Speaking of kids, I believe that's Sam Henderson who made decent progress in this tournament, one of the American prospects, looking on as his compatriot strides the table. He's using new equipment now, Styer. He's had it for about the last 2 months, and I spoke to him a little earlier today. He reckons he's about 70% through the process of adjusting to it. He said he had plateaued to some extent with his previous equipment, and there were some shots he felt he couldn't play, so he's talking in optimistic terms about how things will be once he's fully adjusted to the new equipment. Back at the table in more danger, which was inevitable really from the position he left the balls in for Filler.
Yeah, and the kick shots are becoming more difficult each time he comes to the table.
Styer offering the cue ball to Filler with an air of resignation about what's likely to come next. So it was 3 years ago that Filler won this UK Open, beat Francisco Sanchez Ruiz in the final, and it continued a wonderful few weeks for him. He'd become World Masters champion shortly before that. At the time, all the talk was about Shane Van Boening, who'd just won the World Championship, and Albin Ocean, who'd had a great couple of years. Certainly Filler grabbed a lot of the attention and limelight for himself for those wonderful few weeks in the late spring of 22. There are all sorts of stats you could have in the game. You could go on forever putting them together. If you had a stat for percentage of racks won from ball in hand, well, I think it'd be pretty high for all the top players, but Filler would perhaps be the highest of them all. And I spoke about a sense of inevitability and resignation. Styer left the table. And it's turned out exactly as expected. Joshua Filler goes a rack clear for the first time, the second time in the match, at 2-1. Pius Labutis has got a bit of distance over Max Lechner. He's gone a couple clear at 5-3. Mickey Kraus also 2 clear, but at a much earlier stage of the match against Mark Bijsterbosch. 2-0 to the Dane. Lu Hai Chan has won rack 5. First he's taken in the match, though, against Jason Shaw, the Scot leading 4-1 there. 4-0 for Pong Nam Pam now over Torsten Homan. Victor Zielinski with a 4-1 lead against Imran Majid. A reminder of the players who are already through. Georgi Georgiev will play Fraser Patrick. Hona Suzo is through to face Mateusz Sniagotsky. Wishes Yap and Carlo Biado, both part of the winning Asian team at the Reyes Cup back in October. Will square off. The other players who are through: Wen Antoine, Wong Kwa Kwang, Alexa Pichelge and Naoki Oi, although they are all still waiting to find out who their opponents will be tomorrow. Pius Labutis in play over on table 2. He's got a fairly straightforward 8 and 9 to extend his lead to 6-3 over Max Lechner, so pulling away after a close fought start. 1 in the side again for Filler. 3 out of 3 in that department so far. But has the cue ball just run a little too far for him to have a chance at the 2.
It feels like he can see enough. Oh, he could. It's not getting any easier though. This is a big shot. It's very thin. Can he avoid hitting that 9 ball after he puts the red 3 as well, or is it going to crash into it? He's kind of just got to miss it just above it. Oh, he's such a wonderful player, is Filler. He's got every shot in the locker.
Went very close to retaining his UK Open title 2 years ago, but ran into Eklund Kachi in the final, and boy did Kachi play well. Beaten very comfortably in the end.
Striking down on the cue ball because that angle was not there. He made that angle. could hear the tut. That's because he's hit the ball too hard. Any angle, he's won the rack. Now he's put himself in a bit of a tricky position. If he's got a bit of an angle, he might try and force this out, drawing the cue ball. Okay, he's took a longer ball here, that's all he could do. He's done this over the years, to be fair. A lot of players might have tried to have got the cue ball further out with more power and draw and ended up missing the ball. What Josh has done is he's thought, well, I've made a mistake, I'll take my medicine, I'll leave a long 8.
And it's such a great asset to have. And you can rely on your long game to that extent. And in rack 4, the first breaking run of the match arrives. Filler goes a couple clear for the first time at 3-1. Tyer Styer is really pulling away now against Max Lechner. Looked like it was going to be close going all the way, but now the Lithuanian is only 3 away from victory, and yet another weekend in a Matchroom Open event. 7-3. Mickey Kraus 2-1 up on Mark Beisterbosch. Lu Hai Chan's got another one back against Jason Shaw, so the Scots lead has been halved from 4-0 to 4-2. And we've got Pong Nam Pam now leading Torsten Homan 5-0, and Victor Zielinski 4-1 up on Imran Majid. It's become one of the highlights of the year, hasn't it? The Hanoi Open. We'll be back there from the 7th of October. Huge crowds there in the capital of Vietnam, a real sense of occasion about it, and always a wonderful atmosphere there, particularly towards the end of the event. Vietnam has really been the growth country in pool over the last few years, and it's been fueled so much more by the arrival of a major tournament in Asia. Those of us who were there that night when Jason Shaw won in that dramatic final against Albin Ocean will never forget it. It wasn't like anything we'd ever seen before, Carl. To see the locals chanting the players' names and taking sides and queuing outside to greet the players like rock stars, it was wonderful.
Yeah, no one knew it existed over there. Maybe the Vietnamese players, of course, but we didn't. Another fine break there from Filler. He's really worked hard on the break shot. Doesn't absolutely pound the break like Eklund Catcher and Shane Van Bonen, but he hits it with real good control. Not happy with that one.
Spending a lot of time playing golf recently, Tyer Styer. He's a 10 handicapper. He's introduced his wife Margaret to the game. She's a well-known pool player herself. They've been spending a lot of time doing that recently.
Maybe it's the pool he needs to focus on.
Yeah, if he's going to have a chance, you sort of feel that every little glimmer like that he's given, he's got to capitalise on it.
Yeah, another safety. Back-to-back safeties from Villa, where he's not hit the ball how he wished. Still only 3-1 here, but kind of get the impression that this rack is a little bigger for Tyler than Joshua.
Trying to get through to the last 16 here, Filler, as he did in all of the Matchroom Big Field events that he played in 2024. His best run in any of those was the US Open, where he got to the semis and lost to Shane Van Boning. But he was in a Matchroom final last year, the World Masters, back in April 2024 in Germany. Led Federgorst 8-6 in the final, trailed 10-8 and turned it around again to lead 12-10, but lost the last 3 racks and missed the chance to win a big title on home ground. So I said Styer's really got to capitalise on pretty much every glimmer of hope he's given. Well, this is a pretty good chance he's got with ball in hand. Feels like a big moment, this, even at a relatively early stage of this last 32 encounter. Very experienced Mosconi Cup player now, was on the winning team in both of his first 2 appearances, which was very unusual at that time because it came off the back of a run of 8 straight defeats for the US. And fair to say, Carl, that he was perhaps the best American performer in Orlando last year?
Yeah, he's kind of making a real claim to be there every year. You know, it's going to get a little bit tougher, isn't it, now Federgorst plays for the Americans. Shane's not getting any younger. Obviously Skyler does so well in the team now. But you've got to say Tyer Styer, really. He shows up, doesn't he? Gives it his all, and he's won points. He's won some big points in the Cup. I firmly believe they've got to go young, though. I think they've got to just throw somebody young in the team. You just never know, do you? There's a lot more younger Americans coming to these events now. Someone might just fly in that arena, might just be made for it. You never know with pool, do you? Because we're so used to playing in front of smaller crowds. Maybe someone out there in America thrives off 3,000.
Yeah, and the thing is, even if it doesn't work, at least you're giving them the experience, and then over the next year or 2, they might really come through. You've got to give it a go, really, when you consider, what is it now, only 2 wins for the US in the last 15 Mosconis. Anyway, this is Europe versus USA, and the American, Tyer Styer, is hanging in there, only 1 behind now at 3-2. So who would you put in then of those youngsters?
I've probably not seen enough of them to make that call, but you know, I would imagine, you know, Jeremy Jones and Skyler and, you know, these guys, even Shane, I mean, I'm sure they can spot somebody. From what we've seen on tour, Lucas for Krasavana, Landon Hollinsworth looks pretty good to me, looks really good actually.
Well, for Casso Werner, he's not done well in any of these big Matchroom Big Field events yet, but in some of the smaller ranking events he's gone deep in a lot of those. In fact, he's been to the final of 3 of them already. So he may have the strongest case. I suppose if one of those American youngsters was to really go big and have a quarter-final in something like this, or maybe even a last 16. And the case for putting them in and letting them show what they can do will be pretty strong. Styer breaking, just one behind.
Both players are hitting the break absolutely spot on. So much control with the cue ball. Here's another look.
Yeah, half a dozen racks in, and between them, they've made the one in the side every time so far. Piers Labutis, by the way, on table 2 has got another one on the board, so all of a sudden he's only 2 away from the last 16. Leads Max Lechner 8-3.
Felt it would squeeze past. Whenever it's tight like that, it's not really a bad shot, they're just so tough. This will go off the rail up into the upper far corner.
Knew straight away, didn't he? Makes such a high percentage of that sort of shot. Look at what he's done already in the game, and he'd achieved so much at such a young age, but even at 27, still an air about Filler that he's really only just getting started. Amazing Mosconi Cup record. Won all his matches to be MVP on his debut when he was only 20. The only player ever to pot the winning 9-ball and be MVP in his debut year. And one of only 2 players, along with Niels Fyen, to do the double twice of MVP and clinching the winning point. 3 times MVP in total, 1 behind Fyen's record. So much time to add to all of those numbers.
Good speed control there. It's so easy to underhit the cue ball, then you leave a tricky thin 7. And because you've got that in the back of your mind, you might overhit it and just sneak towards the 9 and hook yourself. It's absolutely pinpoint this.
So he's going to be a couple clear again. Three of the last 4 racks now have gone the way of Joshua Filler, and he leads Tyer Styer 4-2 in the last 32 of the UK Open. Ask why players do this, Carl. You look at Styer, he's come to the table to take the balls out of the pockets and speed up the racking process. Surely you want to slow Filler down a bit. I know it's only a minor point, but these little things can make a difference.
Yeah, I don't know, I think it's just something you've been doing all your life. It's just in you, innit? You just get up, and not everybody does it though, do they? What you saying?
Well, exactly, that's the point. Filler's such a momentum player. Once he gets going, he can just freewheel. He's always so anxious to get on with the next rack. I'm not saying you should stand in front of the table and try and stop him getting to it or anything, but don't help him on his way. Anyway, that's a debate for another day, perhaps. Mickey Kraus on table 3, needs 8 and 9 to lead Mark Bijsterbosch. 3-2, Kraus looking to bounce back after a very disappointing title defence in Sarajevo. 4-2 then to the German star.
Another 1 ball, another good break. Michael, did yourself and Jeremy pick a winner at the start? I meant to ask you yesterday.
Yeah.
Phil asked me straight out the gate. He asked me on day 1.
Yeah, I don't want to say who I went for. I went pretty badly. Long since out of the tournament. Moritz Neuhausen. I don't think any of us saw it coming, what happened to him yesterday.
What about JJ? Who did he say?
Yeah. Gonna have to try to remember that. You went for filler, did you?
Yeah, I did. I usually go for filler, to be fair. I didn't at the last event. But I've gone back to my old horse. I think Phil went for Yap.
Yeah, we'll have to check with the old guys. Older guys.
Just trying to jump over the edge of the 8 ball here. Nailed it. What a great shot.
Yeah, 4-2's fine, plenty of time to turn it round, but it's already one of those scenarios where if he falls any further behind, suddenly it starts to look like a big task. As I said, Styer got to this last 32 stage of the UK Open last year. It was his joint best run in one of the Matchroom events in the course of 2024. Also got to that stage in Hanoi. Gave Copenhagen a good contest. Only went down 10-8 to the man who went on to reach the final. But they were the only 2 instances of Styer even making single elimination at one of the Matchroom Big Field events last year. Last 16 remains his best in one of these tournaments. Overall, Steyer's going to be pretty satisfied with how he's acquitting himself and how he's competing with filler so far in this match. Particularly when you bear in mind what we were saying earlier about how important it is to stay in touch with filler and not let him get out of sight. If you'd offered the American only being 1 behind after 7 racks, probably would have taken that. That is what he's achieved, not letting filler get away from him here. Back to only 1 behind at 4-3. There are not many players around here who are more in need of getting another rack on the board than Max Lechner. And he has. He's stopped Pius Labuta's great run, close to 8-4. Mickey Kraus leading Mark Bijsterbosch 3-2. Kwong Nam Pham Still looking pretty strong. It's 6-2 now against Torsten Homan after the German won rack 8. Victor Zielinski firmly on top against Imran Majid. 5-1 to the pole there. And Jason Shaw also looking good. He leads Lu Hai Chan by 5 racks to 2. There you can see what's going on over on table 2. Winner of this will play the winner of that Beister-Bosch-Kraus match. As I said, Labutus has been to 3 semi-finals in these Matchroom Open events, all within the last 2 years, and 2 of them he was only narrowly defeated.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's learnt a lot from that as well.
So Tyer Styer proving very competitive in this match against Joshua Filler. Breaking now as he looks to draw level.
Nine ball.
Wow, for the first time in the match, the breaking player doesn't make the one in the side, but it matters not at all because Tyer Styer has had a golden break. And all of a sudden, we're level again. Looks a tiny bit embarrassed, but I'm sure he won't be handing back the golden break. So only a few minutes ago it was 4-2. Filler was looking good, and now we're level again.
Yeah, it's part of the sport. You never know when a golden break's going to come. But I can assure you he will be sat there happy about the golden break.
Got to take everything that's going when you're trying to claim the scalp of Joshua Filler. What it means is that for the first time in the match, Styer has won consecutive racks. So determined to succeed, put so much effort in. So many times I've seen him at these events, and he's already out, and only about 15 or 20 minutes after his elimination, he's already on the practice table. Do you feel sometimes maybe, Carl, he wants it a bit too much?
I don't know really, I don't know if that exists, but I think it's just his persona, isn't it? He's a workhorse, he likes to keep himself fit, does all the right things.
But maybe sometimes he's trying too hard to get everything perfect and play perfectly and doesn't give himself a break when he perhaps needs to a bit more. Speaking of breaks, he's had a decent one there.
Yeah, that's very handy. Both players have broke tremendous actually in this match. I know the previous break he didn't pot the one, but other than that, both players on form. Needs a big shot here though. This is a steep old angle on the blue too. Can he hold it, or is he going to take a gamble? He's tried to hold it. No, I can't believe that ball went in.
Yeah, it looked second favourite, didn't it? But toppled over at the end, and now, having been a couple of racks behind just a few minutes ago, Styer suddenly finds himself faced with an opportunity to lead for the first time.
Yeah, he didn't have any choice but to play it slow. Played a shot what we call the drag shot, or the kill shot, some people call it. But when he hit it, I actually nearly said, well, he's missed it, he's going to leave it over the pocket, but anyway, it slid in. Might try and cannon the 9 here with the cue ball.
As I said, it wasn't the greatest of years for him, 2024 in the matchroom events, but he did a lot of damage in the smaller ranking tournaments. In fact, in March last year, got to his first ranking final in Massachusetts, lost to Victor Zielinski, and then won his first ranking title last July in a hill-hill finish against Sergio Rivas in Iowa. And having ended that wait, it only took him 9 days to win another one in Sacramento. So 2 ranking titles in the same month for Tyer Styer in the summer of 24. If he can finish it off here, technically it'll be back-to-back break and runs, because golden break does count for that stat, but it's obviously a much more authentic break and run if he can do it, and he should now. Neither player has won 3 in a row at any stage of this match until now. Styer hits the front for the first time in the contest. It's 5-4 to the American. Still 8-4 for Pius Labutus over Max Lechner. Mark Bijsterbosch just in front of Mickey Kraus at 4-3. Jason Shaw has claimed back that 4-rack lead he had earlier against Lu Hai Chan. It's now 6-2 in that. Also 6-2 for Pong Nam Pham against the German veteran Torsten Homan. Victor Zielinski leading 6-1 against Imran Majid. Round 16 and quarterfinals tomorrow, and then we're down to a single table on Sunday. The 2 semi-finals back-to-back in the early session, and then the race to 13 final on Sunday evening. And if Tyer Styer wins this match, then we will know for certain going into the weekend that we're going to have a first-time UK Open champion, because Filler is the only past winner of the title still in.
Yeah, Tyer Styr's got to keep doing what he's doing. He knows Filler is just waiting to pounce.
To be fair, there have been question marks over the years about Styer finishing off matches. There have been a number of times we've seen him get into a winning position and then falter with the line in sight, so all that comes into play obviously if he gets another few racks on the board. Looking good at the moment. He's won 3 in a row and he leads 5-4.
The big key is this shot right here. He's been nailing it. Yep, he's staying at the table off the break, and if you stay at the table off the break, this can happen. You can be rewarded with a shot on the lowest ball on the table. He's got a long poke at the blue 2 here. Issue is if he's dead straight, Michael, he can't stop the cue ball there because of the brown ball, so he's got to draw back. That makes the shot more difficult now. No problem. No problemo.
Yeah, growing in confidence as the match goes on.
Filler knew what was at stake there. He did a little tap on his knee. He knew he played that shot really well.
not advanced beyond this last 32 stage of a Matchroom Big Field event since the European Open in the summer of 2023. Got to the last 16 there, equaling his best. Lost to Mario He. He's proving fairly effective and clinical from positions like this so far in this match.
I think he's digging into this, coming round off 2. Yeah, 1, 2, playing for the 7 in the other. It's alright.
I thought it was going well in this match, but it's just not getting to the table at the moment. This is set to be the 3rd rack in a row that he's sat out in its entirety. Well, you can't play better than Tyer Styer is at this particular juncture of the match. Lining himself up for yet another 9 ball. He's potted half a dozen of those in this match now. And Styer goes 2 clear. 4 racks in a row for the American. A big story on the cards here. Now looking elsewhere, Viktor Zielinski is closing in on being around for the weekend. 7-1 now he leads Imran Majid. Prongnam Pham is in a similar situation, just 3 away from victory. 7-2 up on Torsten Homan. Jason Shaw still in front against Lu Hai Chan, but been pegged back just a little. It's 6-3 now. Mickey Kraus is in play on table 3, looking for 8 and 9 to lead 5-4 against Mark Bijsterbosch. Not quite guaranteed yet though. And Piers Labutus looks set to play the winner of that match, because he leads Max Lechner 9-4. Tyer Styer in his chair, fully aware of what a big opportunity this is for him when you consider what Filler did in Sarajevo in the last Matchroom Open event. I have to say, if he could finish the job here, it will be about as good a result as he's ever had on the World 9-Ball Tour, certainly in an event of this stature. And if he can beat Filler, he'll be entitled to feel he can beat anybody here. Four away from what would have to go down as a landmark victory for him.
Yep, there goes the 1 ball again, but this time Josh and Tyler and people who are watching will know he doesn't have a pot on the blue 2. But he does have the table. He's the one who's going to be playing safe, so if he plays a good one, Josh will come to the table, not had a visit for a while, and he'll be kicking at the blue 2.
Yeah, we've not seen him since rack 7.
I think the idea is to slide the cue ball down by the 7. Can also go behind the pink 4 as well. 7 it is. He's got that. Okay, Fuller's in big trouble in this match.
Yeah, was leading 3-1, but he's only won 1 rack of the 6 they've played since. He's of that mindset, isn't he? Players like him in any sport, once they've won a big title, it's never about resting on it, it's always about trying to go on and win the next one, and that's what he's looking to do here. Trying to back up his European Open success, but his prospects are starting to diminish a bit here, and that has certainly not gone the way he would have hoped.
No, he's left the pot, but he was in a difficult hook, was Josh, so hit the ball and try and get some separation. That's what he's done. He's basically asked the question. He's asked Tyer Styer if he's up for this. Can he knock this long ball and get on the 3? And if he does, he'll be looking good for 7-4. Big poke coming up here.
Yeah, spoke earlier about questions in the past about Steyer's ability to finish out matches. This shot could tell us a lot about how he's feeling about the prospect of a big win against Filler. Oh, and that suggests he fancies the job. Great shot from Styer. And what a chance now to open a really big lead.
He's hit that as pure as you could have liked. Oh, he's feeling good.
And you know, those nerves that come into play when you're trying to claim one of the biggest wins of your life, they're a lot easier to overcome if by the time you get to 8 or 9, you've got a bit of distance over your opponent. That's what he's threatening to do here.
Didn't need to do that. The 9 was on the rail, it went in both corners. I can see why he chose to do it. He just felt it was impossible not to land on the pink 4. But he could have knocked the 9 in a worse position. He hasn't, it's okay, that's all that matters.
He's just looking so solid and reliable at the moment. Every question that's been asked of him by Filler or by the balls, he's coming up with one answer after another.
Yeah, he doesn't care who he plays, Tyer Styer. It's all about himself. That's the way he prepares. So far so good, he's been really impressive. It's not like Phil's been off his game a touch. Phil's played well as well. Because he moved the 9 ball over the middle, this is easy.
Well, how often do we see Joshua Filler out on the main table, leading a match, looking good, and then suddenly losing 5 racks in a row. We've seen it here. Styer stretches his lead to 7-4. Max Lechner's got one back against Pius Labutis, but he needs another 5 where that came from. The Lithuanian still on the hill at 9-5. Mickey Kraus, a couple clear now against Mark Bijsterbosch at 6-4. And Jason Shaw, 4 clear again against Lu Hai Chan. That one is 7-3. 7-2 for Pong Nam Pham against Torsten Homan. And Victor Zielinski looks like he's going to get the job done soon as well. 8-1, he leads Imran Majid. So just 2 more required to set up a meeting with Alexa Pechelge. So just got to trust the process, trust what he's doing, trust that new equipment he's been using for the last couple of months. Tyer Styer could have a massive moment in his career here. And what might he do over the weekend with the confidence he would take forward from it? If he could end the campaign of Filler, who came into this as, I think, everyone's favourite. Whether it's been here or in Sarajevo, Filler has just been dismissing opponents, swatting them away in the matchroom events so far this year. Tyer Styer is creating a very different story on this Friday evening. 7-4.
Cue ball, Michael, the cue ball. Is that the moment that's going to help Filler get back in the match? Something had to happen, you felt, even if it was a Tyer Styer push out or something, but this is a little bit unfortunate.
So cruel, isn't it? All those balls flying around the table. All he needed was one of them to knock the cue ball off its course and would have avoided the scratch.
Yeah, I suppose on reflection he did draw the cue ball. I know it missed a lot of balls, but someone like Tyler will probably be sitting there knowing that he just overpowered the draw shot there.
Seen Filler in this position several times already in the match, and he's been very efficient as ever, capitalising on those chances. You have to say, Carl, this is threatening to become the match of the tournament.
Yeah, we know Filler actually relishes these moments. Of course he wants to win easy, he's done it a million times, but he's a bit of a freak of nature. When he's behind, he doesn't give in, he looks at it as a challenge. Almost like, okay, the game's done this to me. I'll show you what I can do.
Well, just because something has all the appearance of a classic turning point, it doesn't mean it will turn out to be. But that scratch from the break by Tyer Styer is something we could be looking back on as a really pivotal juncture in this contest, because it's allowed Joshua Filler to stop the rot. After losing 5 in a row, he's won that one, and he's back to 7-5. Max Lechner clinging on table 2. I told you he got it back to 9-5. He's got a chance to make that 9-6. It's a chance the likeable Austrian is going to take. Still needs another 4 though, without reply, if he's to stay in this UK Open. 7-4 now for Mickey Kraus against Mark Bijsterbosch on table 3. Jason Shaw closing in on victory now. 8-3 he leads Lu Hai-chan. 8-2 for Pongnam Pham over Torsten Homan. And still 8-1 for Viktor Zielinski against Imran Majid. So Filler's got the break back. What can he do with it?
Well, he has got a shot here. By no stretch it's an easy one. Just because the red 3 he's making his cueing awkward. Where does he put his hand? And he's going to be slightly cueing down on the cue ball because of the red ball. But the blue 2 goes. Just so good. He's just so good. Made it look like a hanger. Needs another good one here. He's got to navigate this cue ball around the table. The pink 4's on the bottom rail. And he wants this to bounce off the rail. Looks like he's spinning it in. Even that shot, Michael. I can't stress how well he's played that.
This is what we normally get in finals. When you've got two players throwing blows at each other. Both playing to an exceptionally high standard. Very high percentage in all departments. He's already had one break and run in this match. That was in the rack that put him 3-1 in front.
You know what? He didn't hit that how he wanted. The 8 didn't go in the part of the pocket that I wanted. That's why the cue balls ended up here. Okay, this is a big 9.
What a great match this is turning into. That's 2 in a row now for Filler. He'll be breaking in a moment, looking to get level again. Styer's lead now 7-6. Viktor Zielinski's on the hill, 9-1 he leads Imran Majid. Pongnam Pham 8-2 up on Torsten Homan. Lu Hai-chan's got one back against Jason Shaw, but still a long road back. It's 8-4 now to the Scot. Ricky Kraus leading Mark Boisterbosch by the same score. And Pius Labuta still looking for one more against Max Lechner, as we were saying. 9-6 there. Let's look in on table 3. Ricky Kraus didn't even make single elimination in his title defence at the European Open. But looking much better this week, Carl.
Yeah, coming down to the UK Open off a victory on tour just last weekend up in Scotland. Ricky Kraus, winner of the Scottish Open.
Yeah, beat Aloysius Yap in the final there. And I think doing that and doing well here, important for Kraus because it was such a breakout year for him in 24, and he's had a bad title defence in Sarajevo, and might start to feel people are looking at it and saying he was a one-year wonder. Still only 24, of course. Feels like he's been around a very long time. Been talking about him for many years. Last year was the year when he really started to deliver on all the talk.
So he's played a couple of nice safeties, Krause, and he's got ball in hand.
Max Lechner is at the table in rack 16 with a chance to pull another one back against Pius Labutis. I said we've been talking about Krause for some time, but I think if someone had said at the start of last year that in the course of 24 he'd win a major title, he'd play in the Reyes and Mosconi Cup teams, wouldn't have seemed likely. But he's found an early finish to that rack, and Mickey Krause is now on the hill. Mark Bijsterbosch is going to have to win half a dozen racks in a row if he is to stay in this UK Open Championship. Had a chance to pot the winning 9-ball on his debut at the Mosconi back in December. Mickey Krause, didn't quite happen. Jason Shaw on the hill now. He's just won rack 13 to go 9-4 up on Lu Hai Chan. Pong Nam Pham also on the hill at 9-2 against Torsten Homan. Viktor Zielinski, though, is very firmly off the hill and into the next round. He's ended the run of 52-year-old Imran Majid by 10 racks to 1. Zielinski will face Serbia's Alexa Pechelj tomorrow, looking for a place in the quarterfinals. Still waiting for the players to come back and resume the action on the main table. And they're back in now, so we will return in just a moment to table 1. Filler back to 1 behind, breaking in the 14th.
Well, he was getting a bit of movement. It can be a funny old game, Pool. You break the balls. He's made the one, and the previous rack he was faced with a really tough 2-ball. Now he's faced with an even tougher one. He's almost got a slow roll this if he wants to stay on the 3. He can pot it and sort of come past the 9, but boy, it's tough this.
The tension around this match is likely to intensify because at the moment it looks like being the last match still out there. All the other matches, we've got a player on the hill. Over on table 2, Max Lechner has got another one back now, only 2 behind against Pius Labutis at 9-7. What a turnaround that will be if he can pull it off.
Shows you how difficult that pot to get on the 3 was, because Joshua's played safe. He's not got the hook. Can Tyler pull off a good one here? kicking 2 rails here. He's got to hit the right hand side rail first. Kind of halfway up after the middle and the blue toot, if that makes sense, and he could pot it. Oh, it's close. Good effort. What's he left? He's left Joshua Filler a shot or 2. And he's left Joshua Filler a chance to tie it up. It's been a great match, this. It's had a little bit of everything. Both players have broke perfect, just as good as each other. They've had the fair share of opportunities. I know Styer's had a golden, but there's still time for this man to have one.
Yeah, remarkable to think that with 5 and a bit racks potentially still to come, I think we're already sensing this is the match of the tournament so far.
I can't really recall any player doing something crazily stupid, can you, Michael?
Well, I can think of Aloysius and Robbie going to the pub with you for that feature we saw earlier. Does that count?
I'm still full from that. It was impressive to get him to lick the plate though, weren't it? You have to admit.
Yeah, not the word I would have used. And these two have well and truly served up a treat. He just so rarely lets it slip from a position like this in a rack. Happens from time to time to every player, but he's just so clinical when he gets in this position.
And he's not worried about doing what he's just done. So many players would have tried to get a little cuter. Still wanted an angle, don't get me wrong, but he does this time and time again. He's not afraid of the big shot. And you can see how steep this ball is.
Yeah, he just backs himself in every way, doesn't he? And sometimes people characterise that as arrogance, but it's not. It's just knowing how good you are.
That needs to go. It's landed a little short here. He put a bit of a quick one in.
Talk about coming up with the goods when you really need to. He'd lost 5 in a row. The match was slipping away from him. But now, for the first time in this contest, it's 3 on the spin for Joshua Filler. It's a race to 3 from here for a place in the weekend's play at the UK Open. 7-all. Now, while we were watching that rack, a couple of other matches have finished, and we've a couple more players into the last 16. Mickey Kraus has closed it out at 10-4 against Mark Bijsterbosch. And Victor Zielinski is the other one who's finished. 10-1 against Imran Majid. The most one-sided match of this round. So, what's that man thinking now, Carl?
Got to think positive. He's played a great set. It's 7 apiece. He's hanging in with one of the greatest 9-ball pool players ever.
Seven all. They both need 3. What a time for Filler to not make the one in the side. First time that's happened to him in the whole match. Seemed to come off both points but didn't drop. Still at the table, of course, because the 4 dropped in the corner.
Yeah, this is Piers Labutus. Matt Glettner had a long shot on the 2. He was trying to play safe, and he flicked the 9-ball on the way through. That give Labutus ball in hand, and this has been the end result. 3 balls left to book his place into tomorrow's last 16.
He's becoming something of a regular at that stage of tournaments. Been playing a lot of weekend pool in the matchroom events over the last couple of years. Tyer Styer was 2 racks away from reaching the final of the UK Open last year. He's got a chance again this time. Tyer Styer in for the weekend. He's beaten Max Lechner by 10 racks to 7 and will now face the Mosconi Cup winner Mickey Kraus in the last 16.
Well, what's he left Joshua Filler here? You can see the plan from the kick shot. He's going to run with the cue ball, keep the 1 down here on the bottom rail near the 8, I think. That's gone wrong unless he's got the pace to sneak in behind. Wow, what a shot there. Two rails in behind it, get some distance. Oh, he's gone big, he's gone hard, he's relying on luck. Is he going to jaw him or is it going to fall?
It's going to fall. Things just starting to turn against Tyer Styer.
Yeah, there's only this match and Jason Shaw's match. Jason's had a pretty healthy lead throughout the whole of that match, but seems to have dragged on a little bit. He's 9-5 up over Hui Chan. Just making sure he gets this shot right. Yeah, he's not happy with that. You can see where it's finished. He'll be striking down on this ball now. He's got to pull the cue ball back as well for a shot on the 6 ball.
Good, but still a touch awkward.
Yeah, you can just drop it in though. Cue ball's going up naturally.
Yeah, much less challenging than the previous shot, and a real sense of inevitability about what's coming next. Last time he led was all the way back at 4-3.
Wow, Joshua Filler.
Well, he was okay. He could sneak past the 9. Heart and mouth for just a moment. So having lost 5 in a row, Filler has hit back by winning the next 4. And now he's just a couple away from prolonging his UK Open campaign.
Yeah, and it's pretty much all eyes on Filler because Shaw's at the end of his match, and once there's a bit of life left in Jason's match.
Yeah, 9-5 he now leads against Hui Chan. He's never done well in this UK Open, Jason Shaw, it has to be said. This will be the furthest he's ever been in it if he gets the job done here. And he may just have moved a step closer to doing that with that shot.
Yeah, that's a real classic kick safe, that.
So the Scots are outdoing New English again, Carl. Going to be 2 British players in the last 16, it seems, and both from north of the border. You guys need to get your act together.
I mean, it would help if I had a cue and I was playing.
Well, you were last year. You were free to do so this time.
I'll play when you and Phil play.
Well, everyone else has had a go this week. Back to the serious stuff. Joshua Filler breaking at 8-7.
Watch out, cue ball. That's going close.
Wow. Another twist. Just when Filler was getting control of the match. That's why you can never take anything for granted when you've got top players involved, because now all of a sudden he's scratched in the side. What a chance for Styer. Look at this, great opportunity to level again and set us up for a massive finish.
Yeah, and you know what? It's almost like the match is just destined to go this way.
Just a reminder, this is only last 32. It's got the feel of something much bigger.
The green ball kind of in the way. He didn't get into the cue ball as much as he would have liked there.
Yeah, just a little sign there that maybe there's a bit of tension creeping in as he comes towards the line.
Cue ball's coming away from the six, so he's going to have to rip this ball and come off the side rail and back over.
P.S. Labutus is to our left here, smiling away after getting through to the weekend again. It just underlines one of the things we say about pool. You're never surprised to see any nationality doing well, because there seem to be players all over the world and they emerge from everywhere to do well in these tournaments. Another impressive moment from Tyer Styer, and he knew straight away he'd hit that just right. Really should be 8-all now. This has been so good, so enjoyable. It's one of those matches you just don't want to end. But it's going to end soon, and it may well end in victory for Tyer Styer. Really needed to win this 16th rack. And he has, and in a moment he'll be breaking with a chance to be first to the hill. Just to keep you up to date on the only other match still going, that's out on table 4. Jason Shaw still looking for one more against Lu Hai Chan. Well, Lu Hai Chan has got one back. So the late recovery continues. He's still got to win another 4, but it's 9-6 now.
Yeah, when we left it, he was hooked, if you remember. Jason played that kick save, so something's happened in that wreck.
Winner of that will play Nguyen Tan of Vietnam. Will be one of 3 Vietnamese players here for the weekend. A wonderful contest reaches its climactic stages.
I wonder if he'd have preferred the 2-ball to stay over the side. Who knows? He's faced with this thin red 3.
But surely if the 2 had stayed over the side, he would have been able to set himself up with an easier 3 than this.
Yeah, just because the cue ball's coming away, I suppose, but I think all that matters is you've got a shot after the break. You'd always take a shot, wouldn't you?
For sure, but this is a test.
You may take a gamble and roll into the 9-ball or the 8. Well, you could miss it. He's played really well in this match as Tyler, has to be said, regardless of the outcome.
Well, absolutely, but the flip side of that is if he still doesn't win, he'll come away thinking, what on earth do I have to do to get a result in a match like this against one of these guys? But he's the man in possession of the table at the moment. The opportunity right now is all his. Really not stretching things at all to say if he can win this match, it could be a turning point in his entire career. He could be no longer the guy who keeps falling just short in the big matches and against the best players, and who's there at the business end of the big tournaments. All of that is potentially there for the taking for him.
Yeah, Philip broke off, didn't he? And cue ball just flicked a ball and he scratched. He's been sat in the chair since.
All the work that the top players put in, and Tyer Styer as much as anyone, it's not really to learn anything new about the game or to improve as a player. It's to get to a point where you can rely on your instinct at moments like this. And you've got all the pressure in the world heaped on you. Tyer Styer has put in a rack of serious quality here. And having fallen behind at 8-7, he's won 2 in a row. He's going to be breaking on the hill in a moment. Biggest win of his life if he gets it, Carl?
I wouldn't go that far, but...
Well, what's he done in the past that's bigger than this? Knocking out Joshua Filler, who's just won a big tournament. It's all about the big occasions. He's done well in the smaller ranking events, but you've got to come to the big stage and go far, and to do that, you've generally got to beat one of the best in the world. He's on the brink of doing it.
Talking about big wins, how big would this win be, Michael?
Well, Lu Hai Chan has got this chance here to get back to only 9-7 behind. Chinese Taipei, another of those countries that is just remarkable in the depth of talent, the number of players who come to these tournaments and show how good they are. Getting on with the job as well. Back to 9-7. Remember, Jason Shaw has never been further than this in his home open. But back to the big story here. Tyer Styer looking to end the hopes of Joshua Filler, and he's got the break.
What is he going to be faced with? Well, at first glance, he's going to have a look. He has got a look. He has a chance to win the match and knock Filler out.
Heartbroken at this stage of the UK Open last year when he just missed out on defeating Shane Van Boening. There was ever a moment he wanted a break and a split like that, and this was it.
It's all about getting on the 5, isn't it? If he gets on the purple 5 in 2 shots time, he'll do well not to clear the table. So these next 2 shots are the key. See, he's aiming low on the cue ball. Oh. A little surprised that ball went in.
Yeah, there was always going to be a moment like that, wasn't there, in these circumstances? So often Styer has come to these events as part of the American contingent, and it's been the likes of Shane Van Boening and Skylar Woodward who have been the last surviving Americans. This week, maybe it's going to be this very likeable 30-year-old from Wisconsin carrying the stars and stripes into the closing rounds of a major event.
He wants to land above the 6, really, which he has. That means getting on this 7 ball now is guaranteed. He can pretty much pick out where he wants it, because he's going to need an angle from brown 7 to the 8 ball. He's played a really good set here, Michael, hasn't he, Styer?
Been absolutely impeccable.
From that angle, the 7 looks tight in the side. He may play it in the top. Yeah, he is going to, I think. Well, it's up to him. He's behind the shot. It's so difficult for us to see how tight that really is. If he's going to play it in the middle and draw back, he will. If not, he's got to go top pocket.
This could be a transformative moment in Styer's career. Confidence this will give him if he can beat Filler in the the main table in a big event.
Come on, baby.
And he knows now the job's as good as done. That just underlines the determination of Tyer Styer. He so wants success. What a way to finish it off. Going behind his back to deposit the winning 9. He was 4-2 down. He won 5 in a row to lead 7-4. He then lost all of the next 4 racks to fall behind. But Tyer Styer has not been found wanting when the big chance was there this time. He's won 3 in a row to finish it off. Joshua Filler is out. All 3 past winners of the UK Open will be absent as we head into